U.S. personnel could not have dozens of Mosul residents would be in a building from which ISIS snipers were attacking Iraqi forces, the Pentagon says in its report on a U.S. airstrike that killed at least 105 civilians. The report also says the building collapsed after the strike triggered explosives that had been planted by ISIS. The report provides new details about a strike that devastated several families and prompted rights groups to accuse the U.S.-led coalition of not taking adequate precautions to protect people in Mosul. It wasn't until after the attack that officials learned civilians were in the targeted building. Between 101 and 137 people are believed to have sought refuge there, according to an executive summary of the report prepared for the commander of Operation Inherent Resolve. The strike had targeted snipers who were on the second floor. It was expected to cause no more than 20% damage to the structure, the Pentagon says. Instead, the building was reduced to a crater of rubble after ISIS-implaced explosives detonated, the report says. The Pentagon says the home that was hit on March 17 either was used to store bombs or was rigged with explosives that conservatively contained more than 4 times the net explosive weight of the 500-pound munition that was dropped on the building. After the strike, Iraqi rescue workers told NPR they found dozens of bodies in the rubble. Coming amid a new offensive to try to retake Mosul from ISIS, the attack set off a debate over how to prevent civilian casualties when people are used as human shields and whether the U.S.-led coalition has been cautious enough in its attacks. Survivors of the strike told NPR and APO's Jane Arif about the devastating losses they suffered and why they hadn't been able to leave. 3 times we tried to leave and ISIS sent us back ALA and APO's Hassan told Jane. They fired in the air and in the end they said, if you try to leave we will hang you. The deaths prompted Amnesty International to accuse the U.S.-led coalition of not taking adequate precautions to protect people in Mosul, not providing a safe escape route for civilians, and using munitions that are too powerful. The GROUP and APO's senior crisis response advisor, Donatella Rivera, also acknowledged the challenges in places such as Mosul. Rivera told NPR in March, there was no easy option because obviously prior to the fighting, Islamic State did not allow people to leave. However, once the fighting got underway, possibilities are created for people to leave. Within weeks of the strike, as the two-way reported, Iraqi and U.S. officials said they would slow the offensive and reduce the number of airstrikes to minimize civilian deaths.